Okay. Hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unlocking Global Insight, a practical guide to Euromonitor passport for academic research session for today. Today we have Kun Moss Tay, the Senior Business Development Account Manager, to be our speaker here. So I think we would like to start the session now. If anybody has any question, you can type your question here in the chat box on the Zoom or open your microphone and ask the speaker directly. So now it's time. Please welcome Kun Moss Tay. The screen is on yours. Welcome.
Okay, so I guess I will take over. Thank you for the applause, virtual applause. Hi, everybody. My name is Moses. I am the account manager for Thammasat University. So I handle both academic and government accounts in the region. So we're talking about Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam. All right. For today's training, it's going to be quite straightforward. It's going to be divided into two parts. The first part is really going to be a presentation about the company itself. And then the second part of it, I'm going to jump into Passport. All right. So let me share my screen and we can get started. Okay. From the beginning. Okay. Let me know when you can see the orange slides. Okay. So let's get started. So Euromonitor International is actually a 52-year-old company. Our headquarters are in London, and what we do is, of course, we are in market research, and some of the industry, or quite a bit of the industries that we cover. Thammasat University also actually has a subscription in it. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my camera simply because of latency. All right. So what do we do is we are a trusted business intelligence source on industries, companies, and economies. Of course, we have 1,000+ researchers, on-the-ground researchers in 100 countries, and our expertise, of course, are not limited to what you see on the screen itself, but these are some of our expertise. A lot of it is really in the FMCG space, or on consumer trends and lifestyles, demographics, and of course, forecasting also, right? I'm not going to go through all of it because this is just a real quick introductory to the company, all right? Okay, so broadly, we have 3 products, okay? The one that you see on the left of your screen is Passport, and that's the product with which Thammasat University subscribes to, right? The one in the middle is actually called VIA. So VIA is actually another platform that we have. It's a global SKU database. So we actually scan SKU numbers, online stores in 41 countries, and is actually updated daily, weekly, and monthly. So all these SKUs we scan them and we have information on it. So for example, a 6-pack of beer, right? A bag of chips, a can of soup, they all have SKU numbers. So this is all scanned. We have millions of SKUs, and all this information is updated and it can be found on the platform. Now, the platform itself doesn't just have the SKU numbers and all the information. It not just that, it also actually shows pricing on the SKUs. And so what VIA is used for is that it can be used for pricing strategies or even new product launches. To date, I don't think there are any academic institutions that subscribe to VIA. So that's VIA, all right? Another product that we carry is, of course, consulting. Consulting is self-explanatory. So consulting are really just projects. They can be one-offs. They can be continuous. They're in principle what VIA and Passport combined cannot really quite answer. That's consulting. So consulting can be many things. For example, a few years ago we actually did a study with SIM. So SIM is the Singapore Institute of Marketing. So SIM actually wanted to find out if they could actually set up campuses, all right, in New China. I think the countries in that study were, I believe Thailand was one of them. Thailand, Myanmar, and Vietnam. For sure, there were these three countries that were involved in the study. So SIM really just wanted to find out if they could expand beyond Singapore. So obviously, in such a study, it can be quite complicated. So this is where consulting comes in. Okay, now I won't really quite. Okay, there you go. So how does it all look like on a map? Is that we have 16 offices all around the world. As you can see on the screen, we do have the whole world, all right, covered. So of course, these 16 offices, we will have in-depth analysis on 100 countries on consumer goods and service industries. And of course, we have a lot of demographic, macro, and social economic data on consumers and economies. So these are the 100 countries that we cover on the ground with our researchers. I'm not going to really quite go through it. Of course, I'll be more than happy to send the slides over if needed. Now, what are the industries that we cover? So what you see on screen are some of the industries that we cover. They can be quite a big range. Thammasat University in general has most of these industries, or over here internally, we like to use the word modules. Okay, so most of the modules that you see, Thammasat University has access to. Okay, of course, except for some of the newer modules, like at the very bottom, you can see under products, there's innovation and sustainability. These are newer modules, and yeah, these are just really a little bit more specialized. What is Passport? I think I'm not gonna really quite go through it simply because we are gonna go through the whole demo of it itself. Consulting, I really talked about it. I don't think I'll need to delve into it too much. So we do just a lot of consulting work. We do a lot of consulting work with, of course, big commercial companies like Unilever, PepsiCo, but also on the government side. We also do studies with, let's say, travel boards, all right, and also with in the trade. In trade, especially like one of the trade, not companies, the trade export of the Philippines. Actually, they're actually considering on doing a study on the exports, in particular coconuts. Right. So that's consulting. VIA, like I said, just a platform that houses millions of SKUs, and they're updated daily, weekly, and monthly. And all these products are actually used by more so by commercial companies, not so much in the academic space. So with that, I will stop sharing and I'll jump right into passport. Let me look at the chat. Okay, one session. Okay, nothing in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. If there aren't any, I will get into passport itself. Let me share the screen again. Passport, share. Okay, do let me know when you can see passport.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're looking at over here is actually Thammasat University's subscription. Okay, I have the ability to look at all the accounts that I take care of, the subscription page. So I'm using Thammasat University's subscription page, simply because if I were to be showing my demo account, it would have more content, and this could potentially confuse everyone on this training. All right, so let's look at my notes over here. Okay, what is Passport? Purpose and scope of the platform, industries and countries that we cover, and of course, types of data. Okay, so what is Passport? Passport is the platform with which we do all our research, and it houses all the information and data on. All right, what is the scope of Passport? It can be very, very broad, from academic institutions to trade and government institutions to, of course, companies, like I said, Unilever, Grab, PepsiCo. These are just some of the names that I can come up with that uses Passport, right? So in academics, of course, Passport is used in the curriculum for students when students or faculty want to do their research or find out more about, let's say, coffee in Thailand. That's broadly what Passport is about. Okay, so what are the industries and countries that we cover? For Thammasat University, your subscription is global, which means you have all the countries that we do our research on, right? What are some of the industries that we cover? I will get into it. So broadly speaking, this is the main landing page of Passport. All right. So the main landing page of Passport is fairly simple, not quite as complicated as before, because the UI has actually undergone quite a few changes, upgrades, and this is the latest UI. I believe maybe probably next year we could be seeing an even better, cleaner, and more intuitive UI for Passport. All right, because the Passport, I mean the platform, the UI keeps constantly being upgraded, and it's upgraded because we need to keep up with feedback from our customers and also internally, and we have to keep up with the competition also to make the platform more intuitive. It makes it easier for users, right? So this is, like I said, this is the main landing page of Passport. What are the industries that we cover? Okay, Thammasat University has, I mean, at least subscribes to a lot of industries or modules, right? So, for example, how Passport is arranged is that, of course, we have industries, we have channels, companies, products are what I had shown earlier, that innovation and sustainability. So anything that you see that's grayed out, all right, the slightly different color is in gray, it just simply means that you have no access to, okay? And moving on, you have consumers and you have economies. So what is in Thammasat University's subscription, right? If you click on the industries, of course, under appliances and electronics, you have consumer appliances, consumer electronics, toys and games. Under drinks, you have alcoholic drinks, hard drinks, and soft drinks. Food and nutrition, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, six modules, all right, all of which you have access to. The only one module that you do not have access to is under nutrition. And under home products, you have home and garden, home care, pet care. Luxury and fashion, you have apparel and footwear, luxury goods, personal accessories. Of course, under nicotine and cannabis, you have access, university subscribes to tobacco. We also do have a cannabis module, but as of this moment, I don't think there are any universities under my care that actually subscribe to cannabis, because cannabis is a bit of a touchy subject, right? But we do have a module on that. And of course, under services, you have consumer food service, payments and lending, and of course, travel. And under B2B, you have ingredients and packaging, all right? Under channels, moving on, under channels, you have digital shopper and retail. Loyalty and e-commerce are fairly new modules that so Thammasat University does not subscribe to. And of course, you have companies. I'll touch on that in a bit, I think. And of course, consumer and economies. Under consumers, you have households, income and expenditure, lifestyle, population, and the economies. You have business dynamics, cities, commodities, economy, finance, and trade. So, what does this all mean? It really means that you actually do have a lot in your subscription. All right. So, let me get this. All right, types of data. Okay. Now, Passport in itself is fairly easy to navigate around. Passport is divided into statistics, analysis, and dashboards. That's basically how it's kind of divided into. Those are the three parts to it. Okay, so how do I go about doing the search? Navigating the platform, landing page overview. Okay, how do I go about doing a search? Simply because we can actually just do a keyword search. All right. Oh. So I simply just put in health and beauty in Thailand, because of course Thammasat University is in Thailand, and there you go. Right. And so as you can see, you have stats, you have analysis, and you have dashboards. Right. So this is one way to go about doing it. The search bar right at the top is, yeah, you can just put in anything. Of course, it's all to do with keyword. And if there's a hit, you'll be able to see it. All right. But before I get into it, for all new users, of course, there are features on Passport to help you actually navigate your way around. All right. So if you were a new user and you needed to know a little bit more about Passport, I would click on the Help Center right on the top right-hand corner. We'll click on that. And a new browser will open up and you'll be able to, you take into the Passport Help Center. Now, the Help Center is pretty important because it houses a lot of information. So for example, I'm going to run through this quickly. All right. So for example, we start off with the glossary of terms. So the glossary of terms is what we define. So for example, absolute growth. This is all I explain, right? It's the glossary of terms. Everything is from A down all the way to Z. All right. So if you needed to know, all right, you need to find out what does on trade and off trade mean. There you go. Right, off trade means sales through retail outlets, typically used in reference to sales of drinks. What about on trade? Sales through bars, restaurants, cafes, etc. Right. So these are some of the terms that you may not be too familiar with, and the glossary of terms is where you're able to find them. All right, next, I'm going to run you guys through the definitions. Now, definitions, on the right side, you'll be able to see what are the category definitions for alcoholic drinks. Everything is arranged alphabetically, once again. So on the left, all right, we have alcoholic drinks, apparel and footwear, automotive and mobility, BPC, beauty and personal care, cannabis, it's just A down to Z, all the modules, it runs all the way down. So if you were looking to find out what exactly does lager mean, all right? And of course, this is in alcoholic drinks. This is the definition, what we define as lager under alcoholic drinks. Okay, so lager categorized primarily on price, but with consideration to packaging and positioning. This is the sum of the following: standard lager, including imported premium, mid-price, economy lager, and domestic premium, mid-price, economy lager, and flavored mixed lager. So that's our definition. You want to know more? What about flavored mixed lager? There you go. It has, I mean, all the definitions are in there, all right? It is all explained. And if you have a question, this is where you come look it up. Now, moving on, we have FAQs. Once again, it is arranged alphabetically. And of course, we'll be studying our alcoholic drinks first. Let's go to beauty and personal care. There you go. So these are the most commonly asked questions that we have put together and we publish it. Okay, so for example, I assume that we do get a lot of, I'm not an expert in beauty personal care, but I assume that we have questions on why are there no forecasts for prestige, right? So our explanation is that prestige view is based on the size of premium and shares of prestige brands. Since we do not forecast data for shares, there's no forecast for prestige. So everything is explained over here on the most frequently asked questions, all right? Next, of course, we have methodologies. Our methodologies are explained over here. And you have any questions, of course, do direct them to me. But yeah, our methodologies are explained over here in a nutshell. And of course, one important one would be the update scheduler. So the update schedule shows when the major updates will be done on all the different modules. Okay, so there is a date and a fix too. So for example, the last data update that was done, and of course when the next not just data update, the next major update, all our stats, all right, all numbers of our statistics from 2025 and of course forward 26, 27, 28, 29 and on, they're forecasted numbers. So these numbers are updated every quarter. At the end of the quarter, they are adjusted because these are forecasted numbers, right? The world is still changing. A lot of things are happening. So numbers are, of course, not static. All right. So I've gone through all of these. One other really, really helpful place, if you needed a little bit of help, is this, your help guide and videos. So in the help guide and videos, there are actually, videos, short videos to help you get started. So for example, working with statistics, the group sum function, right? If you don't really know how to do it, there you go. There's a really short video on it that explains, all right? From group sum function to working with stats, right? To the search page. and so on and so forth. So all these things, all these videos are in there to help a new user navigate their way around Passport. All right. So of course, if you have, if you do need a little bit of help, and this is a great place to jump in and look at some of the short videos. It really does help. Okay. Now I'm gonna get back into Passport itself. Okay, search techniques and data retrieval. Okay. Now, back to the main landing page over here. Like I said, I mean, one of the best ways to go about doing a search is really just to type in a keyword. So, and of course, I have to state a very simple point is that Passport is not Google search. Okay, Google search of course has everything and anything that you can find online. Passport is not, right? Passport is the accumulation of all the industries the industries that we do our research on. That's we have the data, we have the reports published and housed in this platform. So I need to state that because I've actually received questions from students that are a little too unrelatable to what can be found on Passport, right? So please do remember that. So back on the main landing page over here, we have all the latest reports, all right, that are published. Of course, they're really not limited to just some of these reports over here. There's a lot. There are a lot of reports. Okay. So as a user, I believe Thammasat University has you actually set up your own account. Is this correct? Let me check. Yes. Okay. So yes, Thammasat University has you do actually set up your own account. All right. Whereby if you set up your own account, you'll be able to do you'll be able to save your searches, you'll be able to share the content and then whatnot. So let me get into the full tree. So like I said, the easiest way to go about doing a search is, of course, putting in, all right, keywords. Another way that we can go about doing a search is you can go into the taxonomy tree, or what we like to call the full tree. So simply put, the full tree are all the industries arranged vertically and with a drop down. So for example, under consumer appliances, like I showed earlier, right? Consumer appliances consists of major appliances, home HVAC, and small appliances, right? Of course, there's also consumer electronics, toys and games. Now, under that, as long as if you see a plus sign, you'll be able to subdivide it up. There you go. So under major appliances, we have dishwashers, home laundry appliances, large cooking appliances, microwaves, refrigeration appliances. Now, if you needed to know the definition, all right, on the right, you actually be able to see a small exclamation mark. Just click on that, and there you go. The definitions will pop up. So you don't actually have to go back to the definition page on the Help Center. You can actually click on the exclamation mark, right? And it shows. So basically, all the industries are arranged vertically down, okay? For example, under ingredients, you have all these. Under, well, maybe let's just pick luxury goods, right? You have experiential luxury, and still can be opened up, okay, into luxury food service, luxury hotels, fine wines, champagne and spirits, premium and luxury cars, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the full tree. Now, let's say you needed to do a project, all right, on coffee. What you need to do is simply type in the keyword, and of course, you'll actually be able to have all these drop downs over here where you can select. But when you simply what you need to do is just type in the keyword and hit enter, and the system will show you what is in coffee. So for example, let's say I'm just gonna click on this. All right, we drink coffee. You're doing a project on coffee, all right? You can even look at agriculture on where coffee is grown, production of crops, coffee prices. Let's say can click on this. Consumer expenditure on coffee and tea and cocoa. You're doing a bit of a project. You want to find out more about coffee in Thailand. What is there a market for that? What are the retail channels? All these can be answered, right? Once you are happy with what you clicked on, of course, you can also select, right? For example, there. You can actually just click on the left also, right? There's several ways to go about doing it. And yeah, you just click next. And you can select all the different countries. So like I said, Thammasat University subscribes to global, meaning you have access to all these countries, right? Under Australasia, you have Australia, New Zealand. Under Asia Pacific, you have all these countries listed. And of course, there's Eastern Europe, there's Latin America, there's the Middle East, and then North America, it's US and Canada, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now you can simply type in your country if you want to and select it, right? And all you need to do is just view the results. Manipulating data. Okay. So with that, right, this will take us to another page whereby you have the stats of what you've selected, right? Ready to drink coffee in Thailand. You can look at the full data set. If you're interested, you can look at the analysis, all right? Coffee in Thailand, ready to drink coffee in Thailand. That's the country report. And of course, that's the full dashboards, all right? I think I'll get into it a little bit. All right, so let me start off with dashboards because that can take us to stats also. So under dashboards, let's just look at drinks dashboard. Okay, so the dashboard view or the dashboards is a quick, easy, and interactive way of looking at hot drinks or the market size for hot drinks, right? So all you need to do, I mean, if you hover your mouse over, you'll be able to look at all the different market sizes, all right, for hot drinks. And if I wanted to look at Thailand, I can actually select it and go. All right, and I can you can explore in detail. So this little window will pop up and you'll be able to see at a glance of hot drinks in Thailand. All right, what is the category year-on-year growth comparison of Thailand versus Asia Pacific versus the world. Okay, and of course, what are the top 3 companies in Thailand? This is all just in a very quick glance. All right. Oh, what other information can we look at under the dashboards? I will cover them. You can also look at company view. default is always Nestle because they're a big company, but I believe you can even change the companies. Yeah, you can change the company. All right. So under Nestle SA, you'll be able to look at their company shares. And even under channel view, we can look at how the different retail channels, all right, under hot drinks. So for example, I mean, in this case, we can see that Asia Pacific leads the whole world. All right. Now, let me get back to the category view. So this will be dashboards. It is just a quick and interactive way to look at the hot drinks market size. All right. And if I want to look at the details, what you can do is, so for example, you're looking at the quick stats and links. You want to look at the market size. Okay. What you can do is actually you can just click on the little box over here. And this will take us into statistics. All right. So under statistics, all right, of course, we have hot drinks, which consists of coffee, tea, and other hot drinks. So by default, it will be 2020 to 2025. This is this is the default setting for all our statistics, all right? But of course, the information on this is not just for these 5 years. You can manipulate and you can change to, usually it's 2009 or 2010. In this case, it's 2011. All right, well, to 2030, and we can hit apply. So there you go. So now we actually have the stats from 2011 all the way to 2030. Okay, so if we're looking at the accumulation of just hot drinks in general, all right, under it will be coffee. We can actually see that the hot drinks market and even coffee is actually still set to be to increase. All right. Of course, as a user, you'll be able to actually create a link. I think you can, of course, download it. And you can also save it to your content. What else can we do with all this data over here? We have all these small little icons on the left: company shares, brand shares, retail channels, products by ingredients. This is a little too small to be clicking on them. So, of course, one can actually change, all right, under change stats types. Before I get into it, I will also talk about the data conversion, all right? So under convert data, you can actually, the default setting will be the local currency. So in this case, of course, it is in the retail value, all right? Will be in Thai baht because I've selected Thailand. All right, so if we have Thailand and Singapore, it will be Thai baht, and then you have Singapore dollar. So by default, it is all according to the home currency of the country that you've selected. But you can actually convert all of it to USD, to Euro, whichever the case is. All right. You can also change the settings to current and nominal value. What this is, I'm not entirely sure, but you can go look this up under the glossary of terms. All right. And there's also the unit multiplier. There's also growth, year-on-year growth, period growth index. There's also per capita household, and of course, unit price. So there's quite a bit in here. If you're a researcher, you should be familiar with all of these. Of course, we can also change the data types to retail volume, total volume, retail value, RSP, MSP, even retail cups volume. This is all in there. All right. You can also do a group sum, but of course, in this case, we only have one country selected, so we cannot do it. But if you needed to know how to use group sum, you simply click on the help center, whereby there's a video that shows you the group sum function. All right. Now, let's jump right back into coffee itself. So we know for a fact that there is the market for coffee will actually still be growing, but we want to look at who are the biggest players. As you can see, this is all right. You'll be able to look at the company names and of course their retail value. All right, of the biggest players in hot drinks in Thailand. Of course, we can also look at brand shares. We can also look at brand shares. Here we go. And of course, by retail channels. This would be fairly important because if you are into retailing, one would assume that hot drinks are actually sold in grocery stores, correct? So it shows over here, but I think maybe there also could be direct selling. Yeah, retail, online e-commerce. As you can see on the very bottom over here, is actually increasing. And also you can actually look at even products by ingredients if you are thinking of maybe coming up with a with a new product. So this is all in there to help, all right, a researcher. There you go. Okay. Dashboards. Trends. Okay. Now, are there any questions that I can answer at this moment?
Is there any question here? You guys can ask to the speaker directly.
I'll try my best to answer. I am not an expert in everything. Okay, if there aren't any, I'm going to continue. Okay, so like I said, under every under every industry, all right, there's a dedicated page to it. So, for example, let's look at health and beauty. Beauty and personal care is for sure one of the most popular module that a lot of universities use. So what you're looking at is the beauty and personal care landing page. Of course, we have the latest briefings, all right? You have beauty and personal care, whereby you can choose, all right? This will be under stats. And of course, some of the reports some of the reports or opinion pieces to do with beauty and personal care. And of course, the dashboards. Okay, now, one thing that I'd like to point out in your subscription is that as Thammasat University subscribes to a lot of modules, you actually have access to surveys. It is included in your subscription. All right, so we do publish a few of the surveys. All right, so for example, we have the Lifestyles Consumer Survey, Digital Shopper Consumer Survey. This is included in your subscription, and surveys are actually quite expensive. So it can be a very useful tool to use. So for example, you're looking at, right, let's just let this run. if you're looking at, there you go, survey results, okay, under dietary preferences or dietary restrictions, all right, we have all these questions over here. I look for healthy ingredients in food and beverages. I actively monitor what I eat in order to manage my weight. I keep track of the calories, the food that I eat. All right. Of course, we have the global respondents and Thailand. Right. So you can see that all these can be exported out, whereby you'll be able to actually massage the data, and then you can put it in your own reports or whatever that you're doing for in the university or school, or for if it's for instructors or for different faculties. All right, this can be incorporated into your curriculum. So what I'm trying to say that you do have access. I think this is one part of Passport that a lot of people overlook, is that you do have the results, I mean, we do have consumer surveys, and maybe not everyone on this training knows, but consumer surveys are quite expensive, but this actually comes with your subscription. All right. So of course, the topics, there are a lot of topics in here. So for example, under, all right, eating and drinking, you have dietary preferences. Of course, you have eating habits. All right. You have food preparation, and so on and so forth. And there's quite a bit. Healthy and ethical living, house and home, leisure and recreation, path to purchase, right? So there's really like a lot of information in here that you can actually use. So let me go back right up to dietary restrictions, maybe. Yeah. So for example, if you wanted to find out if, is there a trend of people looking at nutrition labels that they eat, right? Nutrition labels of food and beverages. What's the trend? This is also available for all the countries that we have actually done a survey on. There you go. So of course, the countries are all arranged from A down to Z. Right? And Thailand, you can look at the results over here, right? Only 42% of people look at or they closely read the nutrition labels of food and beverages. Now, this is only one part of the story, because if you look at this, you can actually try to, you can actually see maybe some form of a trend of what consumers are doing. So all these are all, like I said, part of your subscription. It is very useful information. The only thing that that is not too helpful is that for some students, they may not be very Excel savvy, right? Because all this information, it needs to be extracted. It needs to be extracted out, download it, and you have to massage the data. And that is the part where sometimes it's not Passport in itself. It's not a problem with Passport, but I think increasingly this is really just on the end user themselves. But if you are doing research and you're good with massaging data and everything, this is where it's really, really good. It's very, very helpful, because the survey results can be very, very useful. And I'm just pointing this out because a lot of people overlook the lifestyles consumer surveys. And there's a few in there that is part of your subscription. Okay. Right. Okay. So I have briefly, touched on Passport quite a bit. All right. And so what are I mean, the platform itself is actually being upgraded all the time. So of course, because of Trump, who is in his second term, we actually also do have a little section that's dedicated to Trump's policies, whereby you'll be able to see some of the latest briefings, opinion pieces about Trump's policies. So, for example, Dr. Lanha, she is our lead economist who is based out in Dusseldorf. She, of course, publishes a lot of reports, right? Like US-China trade tensions 2025, 3 likely outcomes and shifting dynamics. 2, even global supply risk and chain on rare earths. Now, on the left, right, there are all these themes where you can actually click on, right? Like emerging markets economy and so on and so forth. And of course, there's dashboards, just the unemployment, real GDP dashboards. So for all industries, all landing pages or industries, there's a dashboard. I mean, there is a dashboard. So for example, taking you guys to consumer food service. All right. The latest reports, you can, look at the stats itself. And of course, you have the consumer food service industry overview. Right. And of course, whatever that is, the latest in the reports on trends and whatnot, it is also on the right side over here. All right. So broadly, I've already given you a quick rundown of Passport and how to go about doing your searches. I think for most users, for a lot of universities, the analysis or the country reports are the ones, is the one that a lot of students use, because that's where they are able to find out all the data, all the information, all the latest trends in one single glance. Okay. I'm not gonna talk about this first. I will show something else. All right, a hot drinks overview. I will show the analysis. So I talked about Passport always being upgraded, always changing the UI. Okay. What I'm about to show you is my demo account. Why am I showing you this? Is simply because I think this should be coming to academics. There's actually Passport AI. It's available to all our customers already, except for academics. So, as you can see over here, my Passport demo page looks just like Thammasat University's, right? But of course, I do have a little bit more. So, for example, all right, in Thailand. Enter. And Passport AI will gather all the information. All right. It will give me a summary. So I've asked Passport AI, what are the latest coffee trends in Thailand? There you go. So there's all the latest trends. 6 points over here, from innovation in instant coffee to expansion of tech-enabled coffee chains. And where does it pick all this information up from? These are the sources. So for example, if you look at Coffee in Thailand, click on it. It's going to take you to the country report, which will be the last thing I will talk about, because I really showed stats, I really showed dashboards. So what is the country report? The country report is the report that we publish even online, where you can buy it, all right? But since Thammasat University is a subscriber, you have this at your fingertips. So it has the key data findings. It has all the developments, all right? And of course, it's got even growth potential for instant coffee as brands continue to innovate, prospects and opportunities. So if you're doing, once again, some research on coffee in Thailand, you'll be able to download the report, and you'll be able to see at a glance, all right, who are the biggest major players, what is happening in coffee in Thailand, what are the major trends. Of course, you have the data graphics. This is all, of course, downloadable, right? And you have the context, right, of coffee retail sales by region. And of course, like I said, you can download and what is related to. So let me get back into Passport AI itself. All right, and of course, Passport AI on the bottom will also have related questions. One other thing, I hope, I believe Passport AI should be made available to academics soon. I'm not too sure when, possibly next year. But it is not just in English, all right? So for example, Passport AI is actually, you can use large languages for Passport AI. So for example, let me, yeah. Okay. Get back into it again. And I will just type it in. Of course, I don't know Thai, so there you go. So it does also provide your the answers, the summary in Thai also. And this is available. You can even type in Japanese also, it works. Because Passport AI works with all not all languages, all the major text languages or something like that. I'm not too entirely sure, but I know for Thai, Japanese, I think Chinese, it works. Large languages, I think, something like that. So let me, okay. I'm looking at a question. Do we have to activate? No. Like I said, Passport AI is not available to academics yet. It is only our government customers, our corporate customers, they all have Passport AI already. This is not very, very new. It has been available for a while. Why is it not released to academics is a decision by our CEO, but we are working on getting it released to academics because, yes, because it shows, I mean, it's quite useful to do searches, as you can see, right? Over here, it makes it more efficient, but also in a single page, you can actually look at the stats, you can look at the analysis, and you can even look at the dashboards. This will only become, this will also change. I believe sometime next year, where the UI will be even more efficient and more, I think, user-friendly to help our users in doing their searches. The company is really trying to improve the product. All right. So I will leave it as that. I have covered Passport in a nutshell. Of course, there's a lot in here that Thammasat University can use. All right, even under consumers and under economies, there's a lot of information. Well, for example, under consumers, under income expenditure. Once again, like I talked about, you're doing research on coffee or hot drinks. All right, one can also look at how much. I think coffee, how much you spend on coffee actually. Let me get into the food tree, I think. Is it possible? Hot drinks expenditure in Thailand. No. Let me go into it. There you go. So like I said, my demo account has got a lot more info, but what I'm trying to show you guys is this. There you go, right? So like I said, earlier showing the market size of coffee in Thailand. To make this all very well-rounded, you're doing research, you can also look at how much consumer expenditure on coffee, tea, and cocoa is right in Thailand by itself. So there's a lot of information on Passport. Sometimes it can be a little confusing, but the best way to go about doing it is to really just use keywords. If not, I find it very useful to use the full tree, because the full tree, it's very visual. You can actually see, right, what is under all the different modules or the different industries. So it really does help quite a bit. And the only thing about Passport that's not very helpful in a sense is that you have to extract the data and you have to massage it to turn it into a story or a report. I think that's the only limitation of it, but it's really more of the user than anything. So with that, I will stop. And are there any further questions? Okay, so I have a question. So in the future, would it be possible for Thammasat University to try out Passport AI? We, our academics director who sits in London is trying, I mean, we're talking, all right, internally to have Passport AI made available to all academic accounts. Yep. Not Thailand. What is the best type? Okay. When performing a SWOT analysis for specific like facial wash in Thailand, the data available in Euromonitor often only covers beauty and personal care, right? A broad overview or trends. What is the best type of or level of data we can refer to a more precise and relevant analysis? Okay. Facial wash. Let's try. I hope I got that. There. So if you're talking about facial, there's actually more detailed breakdowns. Okay. The reason why you cannot see is because Thammasat University does not subscribe to like everything. Let's just put it this way, because what you're subscribing to is simply top level information. So there are actually deeper levels breakdowns of products or yeah of products, but it is just in your subscription itself. I'm not saying that Thammasat University subscription is not strong enough. All academic accounts, for the most part, they subscribe to what Thammasat University has, so it's more than available. So to your question, Tarana P, all right, is that yes, sometimes we do have further information on it. It's just that it is not in your subscription by itself, but it doesn't mean that it is not available. A lot of times it is available, as you can see on your screen, on my screen, all right, or your screen. Okay. Any other questions that I can help answer? If you're too shy or have any other further questions, you can, of course, email me at this. Okay. So with that, I end my presentation. Any other further questions? There you go. I do see a thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. Chak Chai, would you like to add anything?
Nothing. Thank you.
So are we okay? I
คุณนุ่น
believe.
มีคำถามไหมครับคุณนุ่น
I think there's no more any questions, so we should end the session now, right?
Yeah, I've given Thammasat University, I think I believe this is enough information to help you navigate and find your way around Passport. Like I said, Passport in itself sometimes has a lot of information. It's just that it can be a bit confusing. Of course, it is not Google, so Google search has got everything, but a lot of information is not. It's just useless information sometimes. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Kun Moste, for the very helpful information for today. Before you go, I would like you guys to complete our satisfaction survey here on your screen, or you can click the link on the chat box for us. Thank you so much for today. And if you have any question, you can contact the library line at Life Online, or you can contact Kun Moste via his email directly. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Moses.